Hello everyone, welcome to Nerd Stuff, a channel where we talk about nerd stuff. Today we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 7. All I'm going to be doing today is putting out a bunch of spoilers. And when I say putting out a bunch of spoilers, these aren't theories, ladies and gentlemen. These are spoilers. These are real spoilers. These have been leaked from the HBO studios, confirmed real spoilers. If you are interested in finding out all of the main plot lines that are going to happen in Season 7 of Game of Thrones, I would advise you to continue watching, because I'm about to fill you in on everything that's going to happen. All the big plot points. Everything that has happened, I'll probably still go over. And all the things that are going to happen in this season. And there's some big shit that's gonna happen. If you don't want to know, I would advise you to click out now, because I'm about to start here shortly. Basically, before I do that though, I want to introduce myself, because this is my first video. My name is Dustin. I am from Alabama. I am an avid reader. I love the whole A Song of Ice and Fire series. I can't wait for Winds of Winter to come out. That being said too, I want people out there who don't know to know there are huge differences between the books and the TV series, especially after season 5, because we only have up to the 5th book. Now, since we only have up to the 5th book, what that means is George R.R. Martin gave the creators control, pretty much. What it comes down to is he told them, this is how the series is going to end. Alright? As long as you get there, you can take whatever path you want to get there. Basically, more or less, that's like if I told you, we're going to Washington. Alright? Now, I'm going to do Washington this way. I'm not going to tell you how I'm getting to Washington. It's going to take me a while to get to Washington. I probably won't be finished getting to Washington and writing my map to Washington, the 6th season of, or the 6th book of my map to Washington, until you finish the whole series on TV. But I probably won't be done with all that for quite a while. However, Washington is where I'm going. You also are going to Washington, but I don't care how you get there. You can fly to Ireland and then go to Australia and then fly to China and walk to Mongolia and then fly from there to somewhere in Europe and back to Canada, and then walk to Washington from Alaska if you want, as long as you get to Washington. So, last warning, this video is going to contain spoilers starting now. So far in season 7, we have already seen Jon Snow come down from the north and go to Daenerys and speak to her about the White Walkers. He pretty much came to her, you know, her only thing was, oh, bend the knee, bend the knee, bend the knee. And he's trying to explain to her, like, fucking listen. Fuck the knee. Fuck bending the knee, okay? There are some people up there who just want to destroy shit. They're coming down. They're coming for you. They're coming for me. They don't care who's king. And they don't care what they're king of. They're going to destroy everything. And I need your help stopping them. So with that, eventually he talks her into an alliance. Now that's what you do know. What you don't know is that Jon Snow will go to King's Landing and he will speak to Cersei. He will convince Cersei that they are going to form an alliance. Cersei's going to agree to this. Now, part 2 of that, Cersei agrees to it, but just because she agrees to it doesn't mean she sticks to it. When they come to their most crucial time needing her, and it's time for her to actually send troops, Cersei's response is pretty much, no. I know that I said I was going to do that, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my two enemies kill each other, because why not? You can let the White Walkers and, you know, Jon and Dany kill each other, and that's just less people that you've got to kill in the end to secure your claim to the Iron Throne. Now, when she does this, she pisses off Jaime Lannister royally. And this is the moment when Jaime finally says, "Fuck you, Cersei, you fucking suck. I'm out this bitch." He packs his shit. He takes, I don't remember who all he takes with him, but he takes quite a group of men and goes forth to the north to help Jon Snow fight the White Walkers. Now, it's also worth noting that when he does go to speak to her, Daenerys is with him. So for the first time in this whole series, a lot of people have been waiting for this. And I mean, just waiting to see what's going to happen. But for the first time in the series, you're going to see Cersei, Tyrion, Jon, Dany, Jorah, Varys, Missandei, Euron Greyjoy, the Mountain, and the Hound, all in the same place. And the great part about all this is there's actually going to be a, you know, I'm not going to call it a joyful reunion, but there's actually going to be like just a moment of like what you could call brotherly love between the Mountain and the Hound. Now, don't expect a tearful, you know, hugging and I love you or anything like that, but something goes down between these two that pretty much lets you know that at some point they have seen the error in their ways, and you know, this is my brother, you know, and they find some way to kind of reconcile, and I can imagine it's going to be a great thing to see. The Hound is one of my favorite characters for who he is, and the Mountain is one of my favorite characters for the warrior that he is. He's an unstoppable force. The Hound is as well, but the Mountain, it could literally be said that this man can swing a sword so hard that he can break through another sword and slice that person in half with a single swing. You know, that's power. It will be really nice to see the two of them finally come back together and you know, just whatever love they're going to show towards one another. It'll be nice to see that, because since season 1, everything you've ever seen between the Hound and the Mountain was just fuck yous, pretty much. They hated each other, they wanted nothing to do with each other. But whatever goes on in this scene, these scenes, these two find some kind of love for one another, and I think that's going to be great to see these two finally come together and acknowledge the fact that they are both Cleganes, and they should be looking out for one another. You know, those two together would be an unstoppable force, truly. So it'll be something nice to see. Who knows where it'll go from there, and I'm really interested to see what is going to happen, because you still got the whole thing where the Mountain swore his oath to Cersei, you know, that he won't speak until all of her enemies are destroyed. So I guess we'll see where that goes and what's going to happen with that. But whatever it is, something's going to happen between the two of them to where they're going to show each other some kind of love. So this is a very popular theory going around. Personally, I don't buy into it, but it's popular enough and there is enough evidence pointing to it that it's worth mentioning. But there's a very high possibility, very good chance, that by episode 7 of this season, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen will be making love, for lack of a better term. I couldn't see Jon Snow, you know, just fucking anybody. And George R.R. Martin has certainly done nastier things. And, you know, this isn't his writing. It's the creator's writing. The main point I'm trying to make here is there are a lot of fans that believe that these two are going to get together. And there are a lot of things that could come out of this, both good and bad. I'm interested to see if it does happen, what could happen with it. I'm not so much concerned about those two getting together as I am seeing what it could cause between everything. You know, there's so many different theories about who's going to land on the Iron Throne in the end that nobody's really thought about the fact that, you know, what if those two get married? What if they become the king and the queen of the Iron Throne? It's just a thought. So there are a lot of people who see Cersei becoming more and more like the Mad King the further we go along. They think that there's a burn them all moment coming for her. And they could very well be right. But what they don't know is that there's a moment coming in Season 7 where Tyrion is going to start looking at Daenerys and thinking to himself, oh my god, this is a Targaryen. And I haven't thought about that. Because there's going to come a moment in Season 7 where Daenerys is going to tell some Westeros lords to bend the knee. One of them is going to be Samwell's father. What is his name? Randall. One of them is going to be his father, Randall. And she's going to ask them to bend the knee. They're going to refuse. And when they do, she's going to burn them alive. She's going to tell her dragon to burn them. And she burns them alive. Tyrion's reaction to this is not at all good. He sees this as, you know, you didn't even give these people a chance. You know, maybe they could have had a reason. You know, she really, literally, from my understanding, basically she asked one time, they say no, boom, they're dead. Starting to see this as she's just a Targaryen. She doesn't care about the people. Her only reason for doing everything that she's doing is because, literally, because she just has a claim to the throne. That's why she wants the throne, is because she has a claim to it. It's almost as if she doesn't care about the people of Westeros. She only wants that throne because she has a claim to it. And though she cares about the people that she's brought over, she's showing no love for Westeros. She's burning people alive. As you can see, she's just marching through on a tirade and just messing up things as she goes. And Tyrion's seeing this, and he's thinking to himself, like, this is just getting worse. I left from one crazy bitch of a queen thinking this was going to be a better situation, and it's not. And it's going to lead, you know, Tyrion is a great character, one of my favorites. And it's going to lead to, you know, Tyrion starting to question his motives. And it could possibly lead to something that I think would be great, which would be, as much as I love Sir Davos, I would absolutely love to see Tyrion become Jon Snow's hand. So I guess really the only thing I can tell you for sure is that you know, when that does happen, Tyrion doesn't like it at all, and he's going to make a huge uproar about it. Whether or not he's going to leave her, I don't know. There's going to come a point in this season where Cersei Lannister is going to be pregnant with Jaime Lannister's child. If you're keeping up with the season so far, then you've already seen the moment when they were having sex, and someone walked in, saw them, all that went down. She becomes pregnant. And after the point when Jaime has left King's Landing to go fight with Jon Snow, she has a miscarriage. There's another episode where I have laid out everything that happens in episode 6 of season 7. So this right here, I'm just going to sum it up real quick as best as I can. Jon Snow is going to go north of the Wall with Tormund Giantsbane, Beric Dondarrion, the Hound, Thoros of Myr, and Ser Jorah Mormont. Once he is north of the Wall, they will be attacked by a polar bear that is a white. When this happens, Thoros of Myr is going to be attacked, and Thoros of Myr will die. It's sad because he is one of the very few loved characters, but he will die. All this is in an effort to capture a white and get it back south so that they can take it to Cersei to show her, look, these things are real. We need your help fighting them. Okay? And they do that. They end up capturing one and taking it south. Now, in order to do that, whenever Thoros of Myr dies. They're kind of encircled on a big pond, I guess. Now this pond starts breaking up and they get stuck out on a big thing of ice. But before all this happens, Jon Snow he ends up sending a raven south to Dany and telling her, look, we need help. So Dany comes up with her dragons. Now this is important. When Dany gets there with the dragons, she starts fighting. She's taking out White Walkers. The Night King fashions a spear out of snow real quick, like, throws it, boom, kills a dragon. Kills the one named after Viserys, falls in the water, it dies. Now, all the rest of them get away. Jon Snow is left there. Jon Snow is trying to fight his way out. He's trying to keep the rest of the White Walkers held so that all his friends can get out. And lo and behold, Benjen Stark shows up. Benjen Stark shows up and he does just everything that needs to be done to hold off the Night King and the rest of the White Walkers. He gives Jon his horse so that Jon can get away. Now, the last thing you will see in that episode is the Night King pulling that horse out of the water, and when it opens its eyes, they're blue. The dragon becomes his. It's going to breathe blue flames. I don't know if he's going to have a fancy new dragon name for it, but yes, a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing a war between two dragons, and you're going to get it. It's also worth noting that without this dragon, it would have been a lot harder. I'm not going to say he couldn't have, but it would have been a lot harder for the Night King to destroy the wall, which is how he's going to get south. He does destroy the wall with help of that dragon. Now, everyone who is kind of newer to the show and hasn't watched all the seasons may not know who Gendry is. But Gendry is the last remaining son of Robert Baratheon. He's also a great smith, and possibly one of the only smiths left who knows how to make the weapons needed to defeat the White Walkers, using the dragon glass and refashioning the Valyrian steel. He hasn't been seen since season 3, however, he's going to show up at King's Landing, still just a row in his boat. And he's going to become the blacksmith for Jon Snow. He's going to start forging the weapons that they are mining out of the dragon glass. So it's going to be nice to see Gendry come back. There are a lot of big fans of his, a lot of people who assume that he may be the one to take the Iron Throne. And it's not to say that he won't, because there's still a chance that he could. But I don't think it'll happen. But it is nice to see that he's back. It is nice to see that he has purpose. I've been wondering for 4 damn seasons where he went, how he survived. I don't know what he was eating on that boat. Probably got pretty gross at times, but it's nice to see he's back. Arya's wolf, Nymeria, she shows up with her pack of wolves, and Arya tries to talk her into going back to Winterfell. Now, the last thing she says to her is, no, that's not you. Now, a lot of people think at that moment that what she's saying is, no, that's not my wolf. But that's not at all what she's saying. If you'll recall, back in season 1, Ned Stark was having a talk with Arya, and he's telling her, you're gonna grow up, you know, you're gonna marry a lord, you're gonna have his kids, you're gonna take care of his castle, you know, you're gonna rule lands, you know. And Arya's response is, that's not me. So basically, you know, in that moment when she's talking to Nymeria, you know, and she's telling her, listen, we're going to go back, you know, we're going to go back to Winterfell, we're going to rule over these lands, you know, we're going to take care of all the people that, you know, betrayed my family, and Nymeria, you know, just kind of starts backing up, you know, and in that moment, Arya realizes, like, no, that's not you, you know, it's basically her saying, you know, that's not who you are. And I think it's a beautiful moment. It's, you know, I don't know if it'll be how George writes it in the book, but I think this is one of the few moments that was beautifully written with the throwback, you know, to season 1 by the screenwriters, and I give them a lot of props for that one. Now, 2 last final points. The first one is that when Jon Snow comes to King's Landing with the White, and he takes it to show all of them there so that he can try to convince Cersei that they need to band together to fight these things. Amidst all of this going on, Euron Greyjoy sees these, and basically he's scared to death. And his only question about all of it is, can they swim? And of course, as you know by this point, the answer is no. If they could swim, then they would have went after Jon Snow, when he was getting away, Anyways, he retreats back to Pike, and that's where he stays. Whether or not he's going to show back up, I don't know. But I can tell you that he wants no part of these White Walkers. Now, the final spoiler, and perhaps the most satisfying moment of Season 7. Now, I'm going to break this down piece by piece. Arya Stark, as promised, makes her return to Winterfell. Upon returning back to Winterfell, Littlefinger, being who he is, starts trying to stir up shit between her and Sansa. Now, how he does this is he goes to Arya and tells her about Sansa writing the letter, and shows her the letter that Sansa wrote to Robb Stark back in, I believe, Season 1 or 2. And it was the letter telling Robb to come south and bend the knee to Joffrey. Now, when she sees this, Arya is just in disbelief, angry, and of course she would be. This is the man. Ultimately, the Lannisters got Robb killed, and her only thought process at that time is, you wanted him, after what he did to our father, you wanted him to come and bend the knee to Joffrey. And Sansa tells Arya, I didn't want any of that, but I did what I had to do to survive. I didn't know what to do, so I only did what it took for me to survive. Ultimately, it ends up with Arya understanding. As hard as it is for her to do, Arya does eventually understand what's going on. Now, in a roundabout way that mostly involves Bran, because Bran can see everything this way, that way, past, future, you name it, he can see it. Now, because Bran can see this, and because he tells Sansa about it, Sansa finally decides, I've had my fill of Littlefinger. And, with the help of Arya as an executioner, she fucking has him killed. So finally, Littlefinger is gonna pay for all of the shit that he has caused throughout 7 seasons of this show. Well, folks, that wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you thought. Tell me how you feel about any of it. Tell me if you think that maybe I might be wrong. I'm not. I know all this stuff is in the scripts. I've seen it. But tell me if you have any other theories. I want to hear what you have to say. Please subscribe. Keep a lookout for new videos weekly. Most of it, for the time being, is going to be Game of Thrones related, especially until this season is over. Every episode that comes on, we'll be doing a review, and the week before, we'll most likely be doing a video about what we think is going to happen in that particular episode. I appreciate everyone watching this video today. I appreciate everyone coming and being a nerd with me. Please tune in next week, and we'll be talking about episode 4. So, thanks for doing nerd stuff with me. Peace.